Hey everybody, Joe Kistel here. Recently, I had to make some repairs to a fiberglass helm on an old boat, and I thought I'd show you guys how I got it done. And basically what we did here is I had this old dirty helm with a bunch of holes in it. There are holes from like speakers and accessories and all that. What I wanted to do was take this helm and flush it up, get rid of those holes, and make it look good as new. I did this project using pretty much over-the-counter products, basically fiberglass resin and fiberglass mat, from a store like Lowe's or Home Depot. So I'm going to show you how I got it done. So the very first thing I did is I wanted to prep the holes that I was going to be filling a little better. And what I did is I took a router and I basically took the clean edges of these holes and I made them a little bit wider. So I just took like a sandpaper bit on a Dremel and basically softened the edges on the holes. I did that for all the holes I wanted to patch. Now that I've got the outside kind of rough sanded and prepped, I really need to work from the inside out. What I need to do is make a backing for these holes. So what I'm going to do is work from the inside of the helm. First thing I'm going to do is actually rough sand a large area where these holes are that I'm going to fill. And again, after I sand those areas, I'm going to wipe them down with acetone. And then what we're going to do is we're basically going to build a backing here significantly larger than the holes themselves. So what I do is I pre-cut some relatively large sheets of fiberglass mat or cloth. In this case, I think I used 3 pieces of fiberglass mat. Our goal at this point is just to make a structural backing. We don't want to fill the holes at this point, so I need to create some way to fill our holes so that when we put our backing on, then it doesn't fill with the fiberglass resin up front. So what I did is I cut cardboard circles, the exact shape of the circles that I need to fill. I took those cardboard cutouts and I taped it to another piece of cardboard. I then put wax paper over the circle and shoved that up in our hole from the outside and taped that cardboard down. What this has done is that cardboard is roughly the thickness of the walls of our fiberglass helm. So this is giving me a flat surface to work from on the inside. So to create a structural backing, what I do is I mix up some fiberglass resin. I paint the resin down over a large area, much larger than the hole itself. After I paint that resin on, I actually take a layer of fiberglass cloth or mat and I lay that over that fresh resin. I then push that cloth mat into the resin, make sure it gets a lot of resin in it, and then I actually paint some more resin on it. Then I put another cloth on. Again, I push that cloth down into the resin, make sure the resin gets absorbed into the cloth. And I repeat this process, I think I put 3 sheets down for these holes. So what this is doing is it's giving us some structure backing, building up the wall of our helm. After we put the mat down and resin on, put it in there real good, we want to wait several hours for the fiberglass resin to cure. So we go ahead and tap it, make sure it's tough. If it's tough, hard, not sticky, then what we can do is we can take our cardboard backing off. And here's what it looks like. Now we still have a recessed hole, but we have a backing to work up from. We have a structural backing that's going to help us build a strong, secure fill for this hole. So now we need to fill this hole, but we want to fill this hole structurally. So we've got about 1/8 of an inch to fill here. So what we did is similar with what we did on the reverse side. So we want to build this up with fiberglass resin and cloth. So what I did is I pre-cut holes of fiberglass mat, roughly the diameter of this hole. Went ahead and I mixed up resin, I painted it on, and then I laid the cloth mat down, tamped it in, and then put more resin down, and then I put 3 to 5 layers of cloth in this case. After I was done with this, I let it cure again. Now we've got pretty much a nice solid structural repair over this hole, but we still don't have the hole completely filled. So at this point what I do is I do like a rough sanding over what we just did, and this kind of knocks down the high spots so it gets it level with the walls of our helm. But now we're left with some voids, and we want to fill those voids. Now in this instance, I don't want to just use fiberglass resin, and I don't want to use any more cloth. And the main reason is that the fiberglass resin is very hard and difficult to sand. So I want to use something a little bit softer that I can sand smooth flush with the fiberglass helm. We want to make these holes so you can't see them once we paint it. So there's several options you can do here, but what I did is I took fiberglass resin and I mixed in something called Cavasil. Now you may not be able to find this at Lowe's or Home Depot's, but I happen to have some around the house from old surfboard repair projects. But basically what it is, it's kind of like ground up resin. It's a white powdery substance. So when you mix this substance with the fiberglass resin, it cures very hard like fiberglass resin does, but it's much more sandable. So in this case, what I did is I mixed up some resin and I poured in some of the cavusel, so I mixed it together. In this case, what you do is you mix the resin and the hardener first, and then you mix the cavusel into a consistency that you like. I like it real pasty. Once that's mixed up, what I did is I pour that into any remaining voids that I have on this whole area. In this case, I basically poured over the entire area because I had to fill a little bit of a void yet. I poured the mix in there, and then I allowed it to dry. And once it's dry, there's lots of sanding to do. Basically what we want to do is we want to knock down this filler till we get flush and smooth with the helm walls. So what I did is I started with a heavy grit sandpaper, I think an 80-ish, and worked my way up to like a 220 grit, and that's a kind of a finer grade sandpaper that leaves you with a nice smooth finish. Once I did a lot of sanding, quite a bit, these holes came out nice and flush, and although they didn't look pretty because I had painted yet, to the touch they were very smooth. So now we had nice clean patched holes. Really the only next thing to do was paint. So what I did for paint is I actually found a marine paint at Lowe's actually. It's a Rust-Oleum product, never used it before, said it was great for fiberglass. So I went ahead and tried it, and I'm very happy with it. All I did is I rolled the paint on. I did 3 total coats, and instructions said let it cure about 24 hours in between coats. I did that, and as you can see, our helm looks pretty much good as new. So that's how I did it. Some people that are really into fiberglass work may have done some other steps, taken a little bit further, but for the point of what I was doing, I repaired the holes. I made the helm look pretty much new, and for an old workboat, I'm pretty happy with it. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe Kistel.